Hello, children. Kind of got an interesting topic here. It's something that needs to be addressed, and I'm not the only one that's been bringing it to you guys' attention. It's been going on for a while, and the age-old question that nobody seems to be aware of, and only a few of us are, like I said, are aware of the problem we have now in the sexual marketplace, and that's why don't the girls like the guys? What have we done as men that have made women so, I don't want to say disgusted with us, maybe more like they dislike us for different reasons. And when I thought of this topic, I took down a few notes to kind of help me out here. Just, and again, I'm using this through general powers of observation from what I hear and see out in the field, and just talking with other guys that have had problems in the dating market. It just seems that women just have no interest in guys nowadays. And it kind of goes along to say, like guys like Aaron Clarey, Rich Cooper, George Bruno, a handful of other guys in the red pill community are saying, and especially Aaron Clarey, he's got a book out um, called "The Menu: Life Without the Opposite Sex." And I haven't read the book yet. That will probably be one of my add to my reading list of books to pick up and read. But I actually did a random Google search the other day on why don't women like guys, and the top answer that comes up, and I think it's worth more of a deeper dive into, and a lot stems to the nice guy syndrome. And there is such thing as nice guy syndrome. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a nice guy, but when you're stepping on your own toes to please a woman, that's typically a nice guy thing to do. Forget my wants and needs. I'll put her needs and wants above my own, which is since you put the girl on a pedestal, and you shouldn't be doing that, guys. That's a big no-no. So, but when I think back 50, 60 years ago, I mean, this is well before my time, obviously, and I'm talking my grandparents' generation, the greatest generation, I guess, the war generation, people that were born between World War I and World War II. And a true example I'm going to use here is my ex-wife's grandparents, specifically her dad's parents. You know, back in that generation, it wasn't uncommon to marry your high school sweetheart. Really, right out of high school. You know, there wasn't a big push to go to college. There wasn't. There were ample jobs out there. I mean, you could go be successful doing whatever you wanted, and so it wasn't uncommon back then to graduate high school, uh, get a job, and then shortly thereafter be married by the time you're 19, 20 years old, if not 18 for that matter. And so you're seeing a lot of people in that generation married for, oh God, 50, 60, even 70 years plus at that, and remain married and faithful to each other all these years. And to look at how that generation and that time frame, and you look at what we're looking at nowadays, you see a whole change, a whole societal change. Um, you look at that, you got technology, the evolution of technology. You look at the internet. Back when the internet was up and coming, back when I was in high school. I remember the days of America Online. You would take your your landline phone cable and you plug it into your computer. And this laptop, I believe, still has maybe it doesn't have a phone jack. A lot of your earlier computers have a phone jack. This just has a regular network card or network cable jack. But you take your phone cord, you could unplug your phone from the wall and plug that cord into your phone, and then you click on America Online, and it'll literally just beep 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 beep, and then you get that sound, and it says you are now connected, or in that case, if you got email, then you got mail or something like that. So now we got um, dating apps, all kinds of social media dating apps. That's made that's really truly made the sexual marketplace unbalanced for men, and it's actually put the power in the hands of women. And so, back when I was up and coming, I was born in the '70s, raised in the '80s, started living my own in the mid '90s. You all you had to worry about your competition per se was your fellow guys, your fellow classmates. When it come to the dating pool, you're competing with other guys in your school, and then your community. You were competing with those, and it really, when you think about it, that's a small competitive arena when you think about it. I grew up in a small town in the Panhandle, Nebraska. At the height of the heyday, it was probably 10,000 people at the most. So you're competing with a not a terribly large pool of guys as far as guy to girl ratio, but back then it was, you grew up in this small town, your dating pool was that small. That was your community. That was your dating pool. That was who you would set off to marry. When I got married, I married a girl that was from my same town. We grew up in the same town. She was a couple years behind me in school, but we essentially grew up together. And so that was my dating pool. That was the girls that were available to me at that time were right there in my small town. And that's what you had. And then, we had a couple smaller towns just outside of there that were probably a 10, 15-minute drive. You wanted to date a girl and the next small town or whatever, you could, but we didn't have the dating apps back then. So that dating in the I always say this isn't like dating in the '90s, where now you got everything nowadays with technology and social media. You got everything in the palm of your hand right here in this device right here. You got dating apps, you got Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, MySpace, whatever. And then on top of it, you got dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Match.com, Farmers Only, Seeking Arrangements. Social media and dating apps have now made the sexual marketplace, not only just your community, but almost globally now. I mean, you're looking at a global access of women, and vice versa. Women are looking at a global access of men that are available to them. So now like I said, it shifts the power from men over to women, because now they can sit there and go on Tinder and swipe, you know, left or right, or whatever their preferences are, is what they swipe right on. So they might not swipe on a guy that lives 2 miles away from them. They might swipe right on the guy that lives 1,000 miles away from them. You know, and so we're looking at, this really filters out the most of the men anymore. And so when you when you look at that, and then you look at the the divorce culture has done over the years. Now we got single mothers. I mean, they're essentially a beta male factory. And so now they're raising, when you've removed the father from the home, and now it's mothers totally raising sons and daughters on their own. And I'm going to emphasize more on the son side, because sons need their fathers as a strong male, masculine role model. And when those guys are taken out of the picture due to no fault divorce, they're now being raised by single mothers. And so you take the masculine out of the picture, what do you have? The feminine. And so now these guys are being raised to be nice, raised to be in touch with their feelings, to be soft, to be like soy boys. So now you see guys like the millennial guys and Gen Z guys, they're now got man buns in their hair, dressed in tight fitting clothing and feminine type colors. They're walking around with their soy lattes, and these guys don't know how to change a tire, don't know how to change oil, don't know how to do basic household repairs. And so generally got a couple generations of useless men out there that are, what are they good for? And so when it comes down to women's selection, I mean, you can't deny what women want. And trust me, guys, they're disappointed in what they're encountering in the sexual marketplace right now. I mean, the guys are the quality is very low. It's crap. I'm telling younger women, they're complaining about, man, I can't find a guy that's strong. I can't find a guy that can do this or can do that. All these guys are they're weak, they're feminine, they're they're useless. And I'm telling these girls, well, if you want to find a masculine guy, go to the local cigar lounge, go to the gun range, go to oh God, where else would you go to find masculine men? Um, Sports bar, maybe. A lot of your, I, I would not say go to a regular bar because that's kind of a meat market there. I mean, you're gonna have all kinds of guys that are all the way from the masculine guys to the weak beta guys that just don't know how to talk to or interact with women. And so telling the girls you're gonna have to date up. If you're a millennial woman, you're gonna have to date up to Gen X or even a younger boomer guy. I mean, I'm talking men right now that are in their mid 50s, possibly dating girls and that are 30 because these girls aren't finding the men that they desire. And when you think about it, women are looking for the top 15 to 10%. And I'm being very conservative with that number. I know other content creators in the red pill community are saying you got to be a top 5% guy or even 1%. So I mean, out of 100 men, the girls are competing for that one guy, that 1%. So I'm trying to be a little more conservative with that figure. I want to say the top 15% because when you look at it, and I've done a little research on it, um, if you're a man that's 6 foot tall or taller, that automatically puts you in the top 14% of guys right there. You could be the run of the mill trash kind of guy, no job, living in mom's basement, eating all the meatloaf she can feed you, with no incentive to go out and do anything, make a dent in the universe. But if you're over 6 feet tall, you're automatically in the top 14% of men. And that's just height alone. And when you figure in, okay, they say, okay, the guy is 6 foot tall. Okay, he's automatically in the top 14%. So that puts him in the top 15% of guys right there. And let's say he makes 100,000 a year, that bumps him up to probably top 8%, 10%. And then on top of, does he go to the gym? Is he working out? Does he college education? Interesting hobbies. What's he do on the side when he's not at work? Does he have cool hobbies? So right there, that puts you probably top 5%, but I'm going to be very conservative and say top 10 to 15% of guys. And you should be able to have no problem in the sexual marketplace based on what the girls are looking for. And then let me see here. I'm going through my notes here. And when you look at today's society, let's look at 2023 real quick. Small percentage of men and women are marriageable material. I mean, you got a lot of guys are kind of checking out. They're not, women. Well, excuse me, men do things for for women. When I look outside, and the vehicle I drive was built and assembled mainly by men. The highways and streets I drive around here on town were built by men. The stores I frequent shop, you know, most of the products and the building itself that houses your merchandise and stuff was built by men. The railroad tracks that the trains travel on are built by men. The planes that fly in the sky are built by men. So when you look at it, society was built on the backs of men. And so men have built societies for the creation and the growth of generations to come. It's an incentive to make our lives easier. The cars we drive to the homes we buy. I mean, most everything is produced and assembled by a man or a group of men. And so when the women out there are rejecting men, men have no excuse to build anymore. They don't have no excuse. There's no excuse for them to, men do things for the benefit of women. If our borders were if our country is being attacked, who do you think is going in there to fight to protect our country? The guys are, and the women are going to expect that to happen. Hey, where are the men at? Who knows? They're not showing up. Same thing when the lights go out. Who do you think turns? Who do you think goes out and turns the lights on in the middle of a blizzard, in the middle of a severe thunderstorm, when the weather knocks the power out? Who do you think is going out there to restore power? It's not the girls. It's the guys. And so when when the guys are being shot down by women, or women just don't have no interest in guys, the guys are like, well, screw this crap. I'm not gonna put any effort. I'm not gonna go to the gym. I'm not gonna get a job. I'm just gonna stay home, play video games, and jerk off the prawn. That's the men's answer right now. It's like, well, we got the message. What's the incentive? We do things for that pussy. We want that pussy. So we're gonna build a bridge. We're gonna erect a new shopping center. We're gonna do things to make society a better place. You look at Elon Musk, for example, with SpaceX, trying to do things, to better society, try to put people on the moon again. We got electric cars. We got things that men are creating for the betterment of society. But yet when the women aren't reciprocating, by wanting to be wives, mothers, women are now opting to go to school, get their degrees, climb the corporate ladder. And then when they turn about 35 and they're like, oh shit, now I want a family. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mother. And then when they're out there looking for the guys, there's no guys out there, because they're like, we're not going to participate. We got the message. You don't want us anymore. Got it. Check, check. Good. Good with that. And so there's just no incentive for men to work hard anymore. There's a few of us that do still work hard. I for one refuse to be lazy. I mean, I go to the gym. I've got a job that pays pretty good. I work hard. I live a life I want to live, and I create a world that I want to live in. And so, but like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that say, screw this. This ain't worth it anymore. If I'm not out there getting laid, there's no reason for me to to contribute to anything. And so we're seeing a lot of imbalances in that area where the women are forced to step up, because not only do they reject the guys, but feminism tells them they can have it all. They don't need the guys. So you're seeing things like in vitro, where you don't need a man to get pregnant anymore. You can just go to the local sperm bank and thumb through a catalog of different samples. Oh, I want this guy's seed. And then boom, you can get pregnant, without being touched by man. So, and last thing I'll touch on here is, you know, we've gotten really, as a society, we've actually grown. I mean, I'm not saying like in population wise, but physicality, we've gotten larger, meaning men and women both have gotten fat and obese, to where the genders aren't physically attracted to each other anymore, because the women have gotten fatter, the men have gotten fatter, and it's so guys like me are having a hard time. Like, holy crap, you go to what I used to pay to see at a circus when I was a kid, you know, the fat woman, the tatted woman, the multicolored hair woman, the excessively pierced woman, kind of the people you'd see at the circus. You paid $4 or $5 to go see at the circus. Now you can go to the local Walmart here, and you get to see all that for free. And so essentially men and women have made themselves somewhat unattractive to each other. So it's like, whoa, whoa. So we're looking at a lot of change, a lot of societal changes over the last, 5 to 6 decades that have really turned the tide on how men and women really look at each other and how we each view our roles. Back, like I said, back 50, 60 years ago, men and women had clear defined roles. The guy worked outside the home, he brought home the bacon. The wife stayed home, was a happy housewife. She cooked, cleaned, raised the children. Um, but now those roles are now kind of blurry between the blue jobs and the pink jobs. They're blurred right now because now it requires both men and women to work outside the home. And so when you look at that, you look at how the economy has changed society. When we talk about inflation, the continuous increase in pricing as your price of housing, food, and fuel go up year over year. We talk about record inflation. Inflation's been at record highs year over year. It's been higher than the year before and higher than the year before and so on. And yet everybody's wages are flat. It's not keeping up with inflation. So it actually requires both men and women to work outside the home. And so the girls are also taken into account too. Well, as a man, you should be bringing three hard things to the table, and that's security, resources, and protection. Okay. A woman normally would bring um, her youth and beauty, her femininity, her loyalty. She's got to be fun, faithful, and fertility is what she brought to the table. But now it's men and women are bringing the same things to the table. And then when the women are out there thinking, well, if I got a job, I'm making money. So technically, I'm bringing in my own security, my own resources. What do I need a man for? And then, of course, protection. Um, a woman can naturally get protection. Through friends, a family, a boyfriend if she's dating would be a protector. But when a woman brings those things as well, she's also thinking, well, why do I need a guy? I'm doing this, and this, the same thing that he's doing this, and this. So what's left? With no fault divorce now, I mean, everybody's, 5 to 6 out of 10 marriages are ended in divorce now. What's the incentive? There's no incentive anymore. Everybody's out there for themselves anymore. And so it's it really makes it difficult to navigate the sexual marketplace when women have stepped up and taken on more of the masculine roles, and the guys are. It's like the roles of men and women are reversing. That, like I said, 60 years ago, the guy worked outside the home, the wife stayed home, she cooked, cleaned, did laundry, raised kids, got the kids off to school, picked the kids up after school, drove them to all their sports activities, and what have you. Well, the guy worked his 9 to 5. He'd go to work at 9, come back at 5. By then, the wife and kids are home, dinner was served. But nowadays, it's completely different. Women are now navigating the job market quite successfully, I might add. And so it really changed things up when when women started stepping up and entering the workforce. I think a lot of it comes down to the guys are weak. They're pansies. They're weak. So when you look at the fact that single moms are a beta male factory. They're churning out beta males left and right. Guys that have no incentive to work, no incentive to go to the gym, no incentive to have interesting hobbies. Just they're just there sucking up the air that we breathe. And women are like, well, where are the men at? I'll tell you what, you're gonna have to look You have to wait, same thing with the guys. The guys are like, well, the guys want feminine, virtuous women. Where are they at? Like I did a video a while back and I mentioned the top 15% of the men and the top 15% of the women are seeking each other out. But in between that is the bottom 85% of people, both sexes. And you got to wade through that swamp of people to finally, so each of that top 15 can find each other, but you got to wade through the swamp to get it. And so it's it's a mess out there, guys. And I'm saying that for the girls too. I mean, I'm not like I said, I'm not just picking on the women here. The quality of guys have gone down dramatically over the last 20, 30 years. And is it going to get better anytime soon? I doubt it. It would take God, I don't know, economic reset, a major crash, or maybe I don't know, a civil war or something to hit the reset button and start all over again. I don't know what it would take, but we're so far down that rabbit hole now that I don't think that there's any way we can scratch our way or claw our way back out of it. And so um, it's crazy. Said it. I'm been dating this gal for 4 years now, and it's been going good. She's, I've kind of evaluated her past, and nobody has a perfect past, but out of the few girls I've tried to date, before her or whatever, guys, it's a shit show out there. I mean, a lot of a lot of I don't know how do you describe it. It's a cesspool out there. That's both men and women. It's if you're a higher value guy, you're sitting there scratching it like, what the hell is going on here? And it's frustrating. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, what can you do to fix it? You know, what can we do to fix the problem to where we can get back to where, it's just like dating in the 80s and 90s. You just I don't know, but I think that's all I got on the topic, guys. You want to get the girls, um, you got to do the work. Do the work. And the same thing with women. I've asked women this question before. What do you think a man wants? And most of the time I get, oh, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Simple. Men want youth and beauty. Don't be fat. For God's sakes, don't be fat. I don't care what Star Jones or Oprah Winfrey say about body positivity. Girls, you can't be fat. Same with guys. Don't be fat. Get to the gym 3 or 4 days a week. Stay thin and trim. Stay healthy. Trust me, being fat and obese is not healthy. And if you're fat, you should not be dating. Period. Stay home, get to the gym, drop the weight, put on some muscle, and then get out there, try it. So that's all I got today, guys. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you dare. I'm going to try to get more videos going now that the weather is kind of changing for the worst right now. The wind's blowing 25, 30 mile an hour right now, gusting to close to 50 last time I looked. So it's a shitty day out there today. So I should have more time to more content to put on my channel. So with that being said, have a great rest of your day. And if you're in the Midwest right now, stay warm. Toodles.